Yo, what's up? My name is Rich. Welcome back to the channel. I have Rob with me from Apparel Success, and he's built his own brand out in Canada that generates over $500,000 a year, which is pretty incredible because a lot of the channel always asks questions about brands and building something in Canada, and I have no idea about that type of information. But now Rob's here to give you out some of that information. So, Rob, you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I've been running Apparel Success for the past 5.5 years. Been running my own clothing brand for close to 7. I started up in 2016, and I run a niche-based Canadian lifestyle brand here in Canada called K-Bud. K-Bud is basically slang here in Canada for like the way we talk. It's just like bud. We say bud, like everything we say is bud. So basically, when we were playing hockey here in Canada, me and my partner at the time, we just kept hearing bud, like screw you, bud, whatever, bud, like all that stuff at hockey. Or like, this is just ridiculous and hilarious the way Canadians talk. So we basically built a brand around it and struggled through learning all this stuff for a few years and eventually got to the point where we were flying with it. And so that's basically where we're at.
Nice. So how did you get started? How did you start making the first t-shirts, or was it t-shirts? I don't know how you got started.
Yeah. So when I say like we literally knew nothing about apparel when we started, I mean like we absolutely had no idea what we were doing. So when we started, we literally had the idea. We were driving home from hockey in my partner at the time, his truck. And we were just like, we should start up a business. We should start up a clothing brand. Cool. Where do we start? We both didn't really know how to design. So we just found a designer through one of our friends. I think one of us posted on like our Instagram, like looking for a designer or something like that. And one of our friends reached out. We got him to design our first logo, and then we just slapped that on like 400 t-shirts, different variations. Some of them were white, some of them were black, and we launched with 400 t-shirts back in 2016, all on Instagram.
So how much did you guys invest? Because you didn't have any design skills, and then you got 400 t-shirts printed, and then how much of those 400 t-shirts actually sold?
Great question. I think we started with like $1,000, maybe $1,500, and it was all my partner's money at the time. Thank you. And actually the first place that we went to make our tees kind of really like screwed us over. Like we had all these misprints and things like that, and we weren't printing the stuff ourselves. We just basically went to a local print shop here, and they completely screwed us. But eventually it took like 3 months to finally like get the t-shirts that we ordered. And once we had them, I think we sold through the majority of them. Like I'd say like 75%, maybe 80% of them. But by the time we'd sold through those, we were kind of like bored of it. And we wanted to like move on to different designs and just try out some other things. And so it took a while to really sell those first designs and to really get the ball rolling with it. But, you know, thankfully we ended up selling most of it. And then the profit that we got from that really helped us invest into newer designs in the future. So
check it out. Skillshare is an online learning community with thousands of inspiring classes for anyone who loves learning and wants to explore their creativity and learn new skills. One reason why I joined Skillshare is because of this guy right here, Jeff Stahls. Jeff Stahls is a creative visionary, and he's worked a lot in the clothing brand world. Worked for a lot of startup brands, and is also the founder of an art department known as Staple Design. But long story short, dude's pretty dope, and he has classes on here, and it has a lot to do with fashion and bringing your clothing brand to life. He has a course on bringing purpose to product, t-shirt design and manufacturing, getting it made and getting it sold, the basics of sourcing, packaging your fashion brand. So this is pretty dope right here. This adds a lot of value whenever you're trying to build your actual clone brand. Check it out. These are some of the actual products that he's created within Staple Pigeon, which is his brand. So, you know, there's also always a whole bunch of other classes on Skillshare when it comes to e-com, when it comes to t-shirts, typography, illustration, and design itself. So make sure you check out Skillshare. Also, Skillshare gave me a special link for y'all. The first 1,000 people to click the link down below will get a 1-month free trial of Skillshare. So you said, as far as marketing, I know you said Instagram. So starting off, was everything just organic?
Yeah, when we started, it was all Instagram. And like, I think that the hardest part about starting out on Instagram with 0 followers is that when your account has 0 followers, there's the perception of having 0 followers. And so it makes your brand sort of look kind of like amateur. And when you don't have that social proof, when you don't have that big following, it really like people are like, well, who is this and why should I follow you? And so I'm sure anybody watching this right now would be experiencing that in their first couple of years growing their brand, is like getting that momentum is so hard. And the way that we did that was by just investing our own time. So I'd spend hours every day going into hashtags, going to other accounts that were sort of aligned with what my clothing brand was about, and just liking, commenting, DMing, and just literally creating like real relationships with people. And so when I'd comment real genuine comments on people's pictures, like my clothing brand's like about rural Canada. So it's like people would be fishing or like hunting, and I'd be like, you know, like nice catch fishing, and put like the little fishing emoji and use like the slang from our brand. And people would be like, oh, like this brand is actually for me. They talk the same way that I do. I wonder what this is all about. And then they'd come to our Instagram account. We'd have our brand sort of showcased there and just put out as best as we possibly can. And if they liked it, then they'd just follow the link in our bio and head over to our website and purchase. So like in the first couple of years, that's basically the only way that we were going about marketing our brand. And it wasn't until like year 3 or 4 that we like really started using like Facebook ads or any sort of advertising. And so sorry to cut you off, that sort of got us to like around like 10,000, 20,000 followers. And then once we started using like Facebook ads, it sort of got us like another like 10 or 12,000.
So you organically grew it to 10, 20,000 followers.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah, man. All just through like grinding, just through engaging with people. And like, I literally had created a process, and the process was basically just every day for a couple of hours, I want to spend some like time where nothing else, all that I'm doing is just going to accounts, liking, commenting, following, DMing, and just engaging with people. And just through doing that repetitively every day for like a couple months, 6 months, like to a year, it just slowly built up that following, and people were actually like stoked that we were taking the time to like comment on their stuff.
Sweet. So you did that for 3 to 4 years, and then you jumped into Facebook and what else? Just Facebook at the time?
Yeah, it was just Facebook and Instagram ads, and like some email marketing too.
Okay, how did that go?
It was good, man. It was a learning curve, and like I developed a lot of Photoshop skills doing all that, just because at the time, like I just didn't really know how to use Photoshop very well. But I find that learning Photoshop is like huge for any clothing brand, just for designing ads, designing like even like pictures that you're including in your emails, like designing posts and stuff on Instagram. So when I started up on Facebook ads, like some of the ads that I was putting out were like horrible. But they just looked bad just because I didn't really like know how to use Photoshop well. And once I started to get better with Photoshop, then it like kind of started to look better, and the impressions that I was creating on Facebook ads and Instagram ads was better. And I think that started to get the results going. But
nice.
Yeah, man, it was all a learning curve, you know, a lot of wasted money at first, for sure.
Right. So so you're really a man of perseverance. You grew the Instagram for the 3-4 years. You really worked hard at that, putting up the hashtags, and then you started getting the Facebook ads. You said it was a waste of money at first, but then you got better at the creative. Like, what makes you believe in the brand so much that you just kept pushing?
Man, I always just sort of had this like understanding in the back of my head that what my brand came out of was like a real part of the culture in Canada. Like the way that people talk here, and the way that like the underground Canadian culture is. And so, and I also thought it was just like hilarious, and everybody thinks it's hilarious. Like we always like, hey bud, like what's up bud? Like just the way that we talk is like so ridiculous that I was like, man, I know that like people are proud of that here. And I know that like once I'm clear on the messaging, and like once it's really connecting with people, like they'll be stoked about it. And it was just about me, like as the clothing brand owner, getting to a point where I was actually like getting that clear message across, you know, where it was like really landing with people. And once I started really like landing with people in Canada here, the orders started to roll in so much faster. All of the advertising sort of just started working. And it was just about like those small tweaks again and again. Like I'm definitely not that story of you launch your brand and it just takes off. Like the complete opposite of that. It was like you launch, we sucked like at the beginning for like the first couple of years, and it was just about making like these small adjustments and changing and iterating until it like started working.
I love that, man. I always say for people who want to build a brand, it's always the message over the profit first.
Yeah, man, totally.
So what marketing strategies are you working on now?
So right now, the three main ones would be, well, I guess there's four. There's Facebook and Instagram ads, TikTok ads, email marketing, because we've got a pretty big customer list now and subscriber list, and then just organic Instagram and organic TikTok. So it's like those four main ones that we're focused on right now.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. So you ship everything out yourself, or do you have like employees who do it? How does that go about?
For the first 5 years, it was all me, just like, and a group of friends just packing orders all day. It was like basically 8 hours, 9 hours a day, just like packing and fulfilling orders. That got kind of the point where like I was burning out from that. I just couldn't keep doing that. And so actually I work with a mentor out of Toronto of mine who runs a pretty successful brand called Indestructible, MFG.
Okay.
And he runs a sister company to his clothing brand, which is a fulfillment company. So he fulfills for like a couple other brands. And he reached out and was like, hey man, you should let our company help you with fulfillment. It'll take all that time off your hands of packing orders, getting like basically not wasting your time, but just like it does take up a lot of your time. So after that, I just basically shipped all of my inventory to Toronto with his team, and his team just organizes and takes care of all the orders, and we're just like in touch on a daily basis, but it's all hands off for me now. So all the orders are shipped out of Toronto with my buddy's fulfillment company.
So do you pick up from your screen printer and then ship it to them, or does your screen printer ship to them direct?
It just ships. So like the best part about the way that I have all this set up is that my screen printing facility that I use, Astro Screen Printing, is like close friends. Like the owners are close friends with the fulfillment company. So because they're so close and they're just like in constant contact all the time, they're just like their communication is off the charts good. And so I place an order with my screen printing company. They print it all, fulfill it all, or package it all, and then just ship it directly to the fulfillment company. And then the fulfillment company organizes it all, puts it into the boxes, barcodes it all, and then it's just ready to go out without me having to do all that on my end. It's like pretty streamlined at this point, but that's only recent. I've only been really doing that for like the past like year and a half.
That's dope though.
Yeah,
all man. Building a great relationship.
Yeah, literally. Like it does come down to networking, and there are a bunch of companies that I sort of like just fell off with because the communication was bad and we just weren't sort of like on the same level in terms of like being professional and sticking to our word and all that stuff. And the companies that I'm working with now, like these guys are such beauties. They're just awesome guys, and they're always true to their word. They answer their phone when you call them. They answer their emails, and like that's just huge.
I love it. All right, so what kind of advice would you give to somebody who's starting off?
Just kind of like what you said, man. I think that it all starts with getting a product that people want and creating a brand that people want, and not focusing on making money at first, and like not focusing on the profit. And when I started up, I sort of made the mistake of like being just like too excited, like ready to make money and ready to become this super success, without really just like getting outside of myself and thinking about like, what is it that I'm creating, and how is it meshing with somebody's identity? And I know you talk about identity a lot too, and like creating that product for somebody with a particular purpose and like intention behind it, so that they really resonate with it. And so what I'd say for somebody just starting out is like, really take some time to think about who exactly you want to sell your clothing to. Like, who's that perfect person? And then how can you create something that will like really resonate with them emotionally, or connect with them aesthetically, or just with their style? And then once you create that, and you create that product that people really want, selling becomes so much easier. You're not trying to like force it down people's throats. You're basically just presenting it to them, and they want it because you've created the product that's matching with their identity. So I think that goes like that's super underrated. There's such like a culture of just like wanting to make money, and like that's what it's all about, focusing on the money. But I really think that the people who really like succeed and do well and get real results are the ones who really like take the time to think about their customer and like think about the experience and think about the value that they're giving. So that's what I'd say.
That's dope. I agree.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So if y'all want to check out Rob, y'all can check out Rob at Apparel Success and his brand K-Bud. And
Yeah.
I used to want to say bad, but now,
Yeah.
I've seen it. It's K-Bud.
Yeah.
All right. So, and then also, if you head on over to this channel, we're going to talk about the A to Z process, the complete step-by-step process, whether you're selling in the US or in Canada. All right.
Yeah.
So make sure you check out Rob's channel, and we'll see you next time.
Cool. Thanks for having me on, man.